The storm hits at 9 p.m. Rain lashes the streets. An elderly man stumbles on the sidewalk outside Ruby's diner, white hair plastered to his face, hands shaking, knees buckling. He falls. A businessman steps over him. A couple crosses to the other side. A taxi splashes past without slowing. Inside the diner, Aisha Monroe, 24, black worn waitress uniform, glances through the window. Her manager barks, "Table 6 needs refills, now!" But Aisha sees the old man trying to stand, collapsing again. Alone, forgotten. She drops her serving tray and runs outside. "Sir, let me help you!" She strips off her coat, her only coat, wraps it around his frail shoulders, and lifts him. Her manager screams from the doorway, "You walk out that door, you're fired!" Aisha doesn't look back. She doesn't know this one choice will change everything. 20 minutes earlier, Aisha's shift started like every other night. Exhausting. The diner is packed. Orders pile up. Her feet ache in worn sneakers held together with duct tape. Table 3 complains their coffee is cold. Table 6 wants extra ketchup. Table 9 snaps his fingers at her like she's a dog. She forces a smile. Tips pay for her mother's oxygen tanks. Her manager, Rick, 50s, balding, permanently scowling, leans against the counter. "You're falling behind, Monroe. Pick up the pace or I'll find someone who can." "Yes, sir." She grabs 3 plates, balances them up her arm, delivers them without spilling a drop. It's a dance she's perfected over 2 years. Through the window, rain begins to fall. First a drizzle, then a downpour. And that's when she sees him. The elderly man appears out of nowhere, stumbling along the sidewalk. White hair soaked flat. Expensive watch glinting on his wrist. But his clothes are rumpled, mismatched. No umbrella, no coat. He walks like he's lost. Aisha watches as he stops, looks around, confusion written all over his face. He pats his pockets frantically, searching for something. His hands shake. A woman in a business suit hurries past him, heels clicking, phone pressed to her ear. She doesn't glance his way. A group of college students laughs under a shared umbrella, sidestepping him without breaking stride. The old man sways. His knees buckle. He collapses onto the wet pavement. Aisha's heart lurches. "Table 6, Rick barks. "They've been waiting 10 minutes." She doesn't hear him. Her eyes are locked on the window. The old man is trying to stand, slipping on the rain-slicked concrete. His palms scrape the ground. No one stops. A taxi roars past, splashing dirty water across his back. He curls into himself, shivering. He's someone's father, Aisha thinks. Someone's grandfather. "Monroe!" Rick slams his hand on the counter. "Are you deaf?" She turns to him. "There's a man outside. He needs help." "Not our problem." He collapsed. "And? You think I'm running a charity?" Rick crosses his arms. "You've got 6 tables waiting. Do your job or get out." Aisha looks back at the window. The old man is still on the ground, head bowed, rain hammering down on him. She makes her choice. The coat comes off first, her only winter coat, bought secondhand 3 years ago. She grabs it from the hook by the door and pushes outside. "Aisha!" Rick roars behind her. "You walk out that door, you're fired!" The rain hits her like a wall, cold, brutal. She runs to the old man, drops to her knees beside him. "Sir, let me help you." She drapes the coat over his shoulders, lifts him gently. He weighs almost nothing. His eyes meet hers, cloudy, confused. I don't know where I am. It's okay. I've got you." She pulls his arm around her shoulders, takes his weight. "There's a shelter 2 blocks from here. Can you walk?" He nods weakly. They move together through the storm. Every step is slow. Her uniform soaks through. Her teeth chatter. But she doesn't let go. 6 blocks. Not 2. The shelter is farther than she remembered. By the time they arrive at the church basement, her fingers are numb. A volunteer wraps a blanket around the old man, leads him to a cot. He looks back at Aisha, mouth forming words she can't hear. Then he's gone. Aisha walks back to the diner. No coat, no umbrella. Shivering so hard her vision blurs. Rick is waiting outside, arms crossed. Don't bother clocking out. You're done. Rick, please. I just need this job for another month until... Should have thought about that before you played hero. He tosses her apron at her feet. Get lost. The door slams. The apartment is smaller than most people's closets. Peeling wallpaper, a hot plate instead of a stove, one window that doesn't close all the way, and in the corner, a hospital bed. Lorraine Monroe, 56, thin oxygen tube in her nose, turns her head as Aisha enters, dripping wet. Baby? You're soaked. What happened? Aisha peels off her uniform, hangs it to dry. Nothing, Mama. Just rain. Where's your coat? Left it at work. I'll get it tomorrow. The lie tastes bitter. How was your shift? Aisha crawls into the sleeping bag on the floor beside her mother's bed. Fine, Mama. Just fine. She closes her eyes. She doesn't know that the old man's coat pocket held a notebook. She doesn't know his name is Theodore Hartwell. She doesn't know that tomorrow, everything changes. Morning light slices through the broken blinds. Aisha wakes to the sound of paper sliding under her door. She sits up, every muscle in her body aching from the cold floor. Her uniform is still damp, hanging from a nail on the wall. She crawls to the door, picks up the envelope. Official letterhead. Red stamped letters across the top. Final notice. Her hands shake as she reads. Dear Tenant, you have 72 hours to vacate the premises. Failure to comply will result in forced eviction and legal action. Hartwell Properties Management. 72 hours, 3 days. Aisha's chest tightens. She looks at her mother, still sleeping, the oxygen machine humming steadily. Where will they go? Her mother can't be moved without medical transport. That costs money they don't have. She reads the notice again, searching for options, loopholes, anything. At the bottom, a phone number. She grabs her phone, dials. Thank you for calling Hartwell Properties. Your call is important to us. Please hold. Elevator music, 5 minutes, 10. All representatives are currently assisting other customers. Please call back during business hours. Click. Aisha throws the phone onto the sleeping bag. Business hours? It's 7 in the morning. She pulls on dry clothes, trying to think, trying not to panic. That's when she notices it. The coat she gave the old man last night. The volunteer must have returned it. It's folded neatly by the door with a note pinned to it. Left behind. Thought you might need this back. Aisha picks it up. Something hard inside the pocket. She reaches in, pulls out a leather notebook. Worn, expensive. Not hers. It must belong to the old man. She opens it carefully. Page after page of architectural drawings, blueprints, building facades, street layouts. The handwriting is precise, professional. Dates in the corners, 1987, 1989, 1992. And then she sees it. Her street, her building. Drawn in perfect detail, dated March 1987. At the bottom of the page, a signature. T. Hartwell, founder, Hartwell Properties. Aisha's blood runs cold. Hartwell, the same company trying to evict her. The old man she helped last night shares their name. She flips through more pages. The entire neighborhood is mapped out. Every building, every storefront, every street corner. Notes in the margins. Historic district, preserve original architecture. Community center proposal. Affordable housing initiative. This isn't a demolition plan. This is a preservation plan. Aisha grabs her phone again, searches online. T. Hartwell, Hartwell Properties. Results flood the screen. Theodore Hartwell, founder and former CEO. Built the company 40 years ago, known for historic restoration projects and affordable housing developments. Retired 8 years ago after his daughter, Victoria Hartwell, took over as CEO. More searches, more articles. Victoria Hartwell announces luxury condo development in historic downtown district. Residents protest Hartwell Properties demolition plans. Community leaders accuse Hartwell Properties of displacing low-income families. The company changed. Theodore built it. Victoria transformed it into something else. A knock at the door. Aisha jumps, clutches the notebook. Who is it? Miss Monroe? The voice is calm, steady, and familiar. My name is Theodore Hartwell. I believe you have something of mine. Aisha opens the door slowly. The old man from last night stands in the hallway. But he's different now. Clean clothes, combed hair, eyes sharp and focused. He looks 10 years younger. I'm sorry to bother you so early, Theodore says. You helped me last night. I wasn't myself. I have Alzheimer's. Some days are better than others. You left your notebook in my coat, Aisha says quietly. Yes, I realized that this morning. I came to retrieve it, and to thank you properly. You showed me kindness when no one else would. Aisha should hand it over, should close the door, should focus on her own crisis. But something stops her. She holds up the eviction notice instead. Do you know about this? Theodore takes the paper, reads it. His face changes. The sharpness in his eyes hardens into something else. Anger. This is your address? He asks. Yes. How long have you lived here? 2 years. My mother and I. She's sick. We can't move. Theodore looks from the notice to the notebook in Aisha's hands. He steps closer, lowers his voice. May I come in? There's something you need to know about my daughter and what she's planning to do to your home. Aisha hesitates, then opens the door wider. Theodore walks in, sees Lorraine sleeping, sees the peeling walls, the hot plate, the sleeping bag on the floor. His jaw tightens. I built Hartwell Properties to help people like you, he says. My daughter is using it to destroy you, and I'm going to help you stop her. Theodore sits at the small table in the center of the cramped apartment. Aisha pours him water in a chipped mug. Her mother, Lorraine, is awake now, propped up on pillows, an oxygen tube in place, watching the stranger with cautious eyes. Who is this man, Aisha? Lorraine asks softly. The man I helped last night, Mama. Aisha sits beside her mother's bed. He says he can help us. Theodore sets down the mug. Mrs. Monroe, my name is Theodore Hartwell. I founded Hartwell Properties 40 years ago. I built this building you're living in. Lorraine's eyes widened. You're the landlord? I was. Not anymore. Theodore's voice carries a weight that fills the small room. I retired 8 years ago when Alzheimer's started. My daughter Victoria took over as CEO. She's the one trying to evict you. Your own daughter? Aisha asks. Yes. The word comes out like a confession. I built this company on a principle: create affordable housing in historic neighborhoods. Preserve the past while giving people a future. Victoria. She saw a different opportunity. Demolish the old, build luxury condos, maximize profit. He pulls the notebook from his coat pocket, flips to a page showing Aisha's building. This structure was built in 1923. It's protected under historic preservation laws. Victoria can't legally demolish it. Then why is she trying? Aisha asks. Theodore's jaw tightens. Because she's lying to the city. She hired surveyors to create fake reports claiming this building doesn't meet historic criteria. I found the documents 3 days ago in her office. Aisha leans forward. You found what? I wasn't supposed to be there. Most days Alzheimer's keeps me confused, disoriented. But I have moments of clarity. Tuesday was one of them. I went to the office looking for old project files. Victoria's assistant thought I was lost, left me alone in the conference room. Theodore's hands gripped the notebook tighter. That's when I saw them. 2 sets of survey reports. The original from 1987 showing this block qualifies for historic protection, and a new one dated last month with altered measurements and false structural assessments. She faked government documents? Lorraine whispers. Yes, to get demolition permits approved. Theodore reaches into his coat, pulls out a thin briefcase Aisha hadn't noticed before. He opens it on the table. Inside, stacks of papers, blueprints, photographs, USB drives. I took everything I could carry, Theodore says. Original surveys, legal memos, email printouts proving Victoria knew the reports were falsified. I was going to take it to the authorities. But then the confusion came back. I forgot where I was, why I was walking in the rain. I forgot everything except that I needed to hide these documents. Aisha stares at the evidence. Why didn't you go to the police? Because I'm a man with Alzheimer's. Who would believe me? My own daughter has a medical power of attorney. She could have me declared incompetent with one phone call. These documents would disappear, and 200 families would lose their homes. Then why come to me? Aisha asks. Theodore looks at her, and his eyes glisten. Because last night, when I was lost and afraid, you were the only person in a year who treated me like I still mattered. Not as a sick old man, not as a burden, as a human being worth saving. His voice cracks. You gave me your coat. You gave up your job. You asked for nothing in return. Lorraine reaches out, touches Aisha's hand. Theodore closes the briefcase. So I'm giving you this, all of it. The truth about what my daughter is doing. Use it. Save your home. Save your neighbors. I can't stop her alone. But maybe you can. Aisha looks at the briefcase, then at her mother, then at the eviction notice on the table. She's a waitress with $63 in her bank account. But now she's holding a weapon. The basement of Mount Zion Church smells like coffee and old hymnals. Folding chairs arranged in crooked rows. A chipped podium at the front. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. 200 people packed into a space meant for half that. Aisha walks in with Theodore, and every head turns. She recognizes her neighbors. Mrs. Carter from 3B with her twin toddlers. Marcus, the mechanic who fixed her car for free last winter. The Rodriguez family, all 6 of them squeezed onto one bench. Old Mr. Patterson, who's lived here since 1965. All of them holding the same red-stamped eviction notice. At the podium stands Jasmine Williams, 40 years old, voice like thunder, wearing a "Housing is a Human Right" t-shirt. She's been organizing this community for 5 years, fighting every rent increase, every code violation, every threat. All right, people, listen up! Jasmine's voice cuts through the chatter. Hartwell Properties wants us gone in 72 hours. They're offering buyouts, $5,000 per family. That's an insult. That won't cover the first month's rent anywhere else in this city. Angry murmurs ripple through the crowd. We need a lawyer, someone shouts. Lawyers cost money we don't have, another voice responds. Then we take the buyout and leave. And where? The shelters are full. Jasmine slams her hand on the podium. We're not giving up without a fight. I've reached out to legal aid, but they're backlogged for months. We need... Excuse me. Aisha's voice is quiet, but something in it makes people turn. I have information about Hartwell Properties, about why they're really trying to demolish this building. Jasmine narrows her eyes. Who are you? Aisha Monroe. I live in Unit 2A. She gestures to Theodore beside her. This is Theodore Hartwell. The room goes silent, then erupts. Did she say Hartwell? That's the company owner. What the hell is he doing here? Get him out! A man stands up, pointing at Theodore. You've got some nerve showing your face here, old man. You're destroying our lives. Theodore doesn't flinch. He simply waits. Jasmine raises her hands. Everybody calm down. She glares at Aisha. You better have a damn good explanation for bringing this man here. Aisha steps forward. Her hands shake, but her voice doesn't. Theodore Hartwell founded the company 40 years ago. He built this building. He retired 8 years ago, and his daughter Victoria took over. She's the one trying to evict us, not him. So what? Jasmine snaps. He's still a Hartwell, still part of the problem. No. Aisha pulls the briefcase from Theodore's hands, sets it on the podium. He's part of the solution. She opens it. The documents spill out. Blueprints, survey reports, legal memos. Theodore found evidence that Victoria is committing fraud. She falsified land surveys to get demolition permits. This building is protected under historic preservation laws. She lied to the city to bypass those protections. The room stirs. People lean forward, squinting at the papers. Jasmine picks up one of the survey reports, compares it to another. Her eyes widened. These numbers don't match. Because one is real and one is fake, Theodore says quietly. I have the original surveys from 1987. This block qualifies for historic designation. Victoria altered the reports to make it look like these buildings are structurally unsound and historically insignificant. She paid surveyors to lie. Mrs. Carter stands up, holding her twins. Why would she do that? Money. Theodore's voice is steady, sad. Luxury condos sell for 3 times what affordable housing generates. She saw an opportunity to maximize profit. She forgot that real people live here. Marcus, the mechanic, crosses his arms. And why should we trust you? You could be lying to cover for your daughter. I could be, Theodore agrees. But I'm not. I'm here because I was taught that integrity isn't what you build. It's who you refuse to bury. My daughter is burying you. I refuse to let that happen. Aisha speaks up again. 2 nights ago, I found him collapsed in the rain. He was confused, lost. I helped him. I didn't know who he was. I just knew he needed help. Her voice cracks. He could have disappeared with this evidence. He could have stayed silent. But he came back. He came to my apartment this morning and gave me everything he had. He's risking his own family to save ours. Silence settles over the room. Jasmine studies the documents again, flipping through pages, checking signatures, dates, measurements. Finally, she looks up. If this is real, if we can prove Victoria Hartwell committed fraud, we can stop the evictions. We can do more than that, Theodore says. We can have the demolition permits revoked permanently. We can force the city to grant historic protection status. Your homes will be safe. But we need a lawyer, Jasmine says. A good one. And we still don't have money. An older white man in the back stands up. Aisha recognizes him from the neighborhood, always walking his dog, always nodding hello. My name is Martin Brennan, he says. I'm a civil rights attorney. I've been retired for 3 years, but I still have my license. He steps forward, looks at the documents on the podium. If what you're saying is true, this is the kind of case I spent my whole career fighting. I'll represent you. Pro bono. The room erupts in gasps, whispers, hope. Jasmine's hard expression softens. Are you serious? Dead serious. Martin picks up the survey reports, examines them with a lawyer's eye. This is fraud, clear as day. We will file an emergency injunction tomorrow morning. Judge Lawson owes me a favor. If we move fast, we can get a temporary hold on the demolition. Mrs. Carter starts crying. Marcus grins. Mr. Patterson punches the air with his fist. Jasmine looks at Aisha, then at Theodore, then at the 200 faces staring back at her. All in favor of hiring Mr. Brennan and fighting this eviction, say aye. Aye! The sound shakes the walls. Jasmine slams the podium. Then we fight. 3 days later, they stand in a courtroom. Judge Lawson, a black woman in her 60s with sharp eyes and no patience for nonsense, reviews Martin's emergency petition. She compares the original surveys to Victoria's altered versions side by side on a projector screen. The evidence is undeniable. Ms. Hartwell's legal team will have an opportunity to respond, Judge Lawson says. But until this matter is investigated, I'm granting a 30-day hold on all demolition activity. These residents will not be evicted pending further review. The gavel falls. Aisha grabs Theodore's hand. Jasmine hugs Martin. Mrs. Carter sobs with relief. They've won. Not the war, but the first battle. Outside the courthouse, Aisha looks at Theodore. Thank you. He shakes his head. You gave me back my purpose. I should be thanking you. Aisha doesn't know that in Victoria's office, 20 blocks away, a phone is ringing. She doesn't know that Victoria is reading news alerts about the court decision. She doesn't know that the real fight is about to begin. 3 weeks pass like a held breath. Aisha finds work at Marcello's, an upscale Italian restaurant downtown. White tablecloths, wine lists thicker than textbooks. Customers who tip more in one night than Ruby's diner paid in a week. She wears a clean uniform now. Black dress, white apron, hair pinned back. The manager, Sophia, doesn't ask about her past, just hands her a section and says, "Make them feel welcome." Aisha is good at that. The irony doesn't escape her. Half the customers work in the financial district. Lawyers, executives, developers, people who've never worried about eviction notices. She smiles, pours wine, brings appetizers, and saves every dollar. Theodore rents a small apartment in Aisha's building. Unit 1C, first floor. The community fund covered the deposit. He insists on paying rent. I won't take charity, he says. I'm still a Hartwell. We pay our debts. Most afternoons, he visits Lorraine, sits beside her bed, reads aloud from old novels. Lorraine's favorite is, Their Eyes Were Watching God. Theodore's voice is steady, warm. On good days, he remembers every word. On bad days, he forgets the page number and starts over. Lorraine doesn't mind. You remind me of my late husband, she tells him once. He used to read to me, too. Theodore smiles. Then I'm in good company. The building feels different now. Neighbors chat in hallways. Mrs. Carter's twins draw pictures for Theodore. Marcus fixes a leaky pipe in his bathroom for free. Mr. Patterson shares tomatoes from his rooftop garden. It feels like hope, but hope is fragile. One evening, Martin calls Aisha. His voice is tight. Victoria's legal team filed a motion to dismiss our case. They're bringing expert witnesses, claiming our evidence is circumstantial. They're going after Theodore's credibility, Alzheimer's diagnosis, medical records, everything. Aisha grips the phone. Can they do that? They can try, and they will. Victoria's lawyers are vicious. They don't just want it to win. They want to destroy anyone who challenges them. Martin pauses. Be ready, Aisha. This fight is about to get ugly. Aisha hangs up. She looks out her window at the street below. Kids playing, neighbors talking. Life is moving forward. She doesn't know the storm is already here. The press conference happens on a Tuesday morning. Victoria Hartwell stands behind a podium at the Hartwell Properties headquarters, 47 floors above the city. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame her like a portrait. Steel gray suit, hair pulled back tight, face composed, practiced. 20 reporters fill the room. Cameras flash. Thank you all for coming, Victoria begins, voice smooth as ice. I'm here to address recent allegations against Hartwell Properties. Allegations that are both false and deeply painful for my family. She pauses. A calculated pause. My father, Theodore Hartwell, is a man I love and respect. He built this company with integrity and vision. But 6 years ago, he was diagnosed with advanced Alzheimer's disease. It's a cruel illness. It takes memories, judgment, and eventually, the person you knew. A reporter raises her hand. Ms. Hartwell, your father claims you falsified survey reports. My father is sick. Victoria's voice sharpens. He wanders. He forgets where he is. Last month, police found him trying to break into our old family home, a house we sold 15 years ago. He thought he still lived there. She reaches below the podium, pulls out a folder, holds it up for the cameras. These are his medical records, signed by 3 independent neurologists. Severe cognitive decline, paranoid delusions, inability to distinguish the past from the present. She sets the folder down gently. The accusations he's making aren't real. They're the symptoms of a dying mind. And it breaks my heart. Victoria dabs at her eye. No tears fall, but the gesture is enough. I'm trying to protect my father's legacy. And I'm asking the court to dismiss this case so my family can focus on his care. Thank you. She walks off. Doesn't take questions. By noon, the story is everywhere. News websites, social media, local television. Alzheimer's patient at center of housing controversy. Daughter defends company against sick father's claims. Experts question reliability of evidence from dementia patients. Aisha watches the press conference on her phone during her break at Marcello's. Her hands shake so hard she nearly drops it. Theodore isn't lying. She knows he isn't. But the world doesn't. 2 days later, a man in a cheap suit appears at Marcello's during dinner service. He asks for Aisha by name. Sophia, the manager, pulls her aside. There's someone here to see you. Says it's important. The man sits at a corner table, briefcase open. He slides a folder across to Aisha. My name is Richard Crane. I'm a private investigator hired by the Hartwell Properties legal team. I've been asked to verify background information on individuals involved in the current lawsuit. Aisha's stomach drops. What does that mean? It means I did my job. He taps the folder. Aisha Monroe, age 24, arrested at 16 for trespassing and vandalism. Charges were dismissed after community service, but the record exists. That was 8 years ago. I was a kid. I was protesting the closure of our school library. Doesn't matter why. Crane leans back. What matters is the headline. Woman suing Hartwell Properties has criminal record. Makes people wonder what else you're lying about. I'm not lying about anything. Sure. He stands, leaves a business card on the table. Just wanted to give you a heads up. This information goes public tomorrow morning. You might want to prepare a statement. He walks out. Aisha stares at the folder, her juvenile record. Photos of her 16-year-old self being escorted out of the school by police. It was a peaceful protest. 20 students sitting in the library, refusing to leave. They got community service, not jail time. But that's not how it will look in the news. Sophia approaches, concern written on her face. Aisha, is everything okay? I need to go. I'm sorry. Wait, your shift isn't... I know. I'm sorry. Aisha grabs her coat, runs out the door. The next morning, the story breaks. Lawsuit leader has criminal past. Aisha Monroe's arrest record raises questions. The article includes her mugshot. A 16-year-old girl with frightened eyes. By 10 a.m., Sophia calls. Aisha, I'm so sorry. Corporate saw the news. They're worried about the restaurant's reputation. I fought for you, but they're insisting. I have to let you go. Aisha sits on her apartment floor, phone pressed to her ear, unable to speak. You're a good worker, Sophia continues, voice breaking. This isn't fair, but my hands are tied. I understand. Aisha hangs up. She's lost another job. That afternoon, Theodore collapses. He's in Lorraine's room reading aloud when the words start to blur. The book falls from his hands. His chest tightens, heart racing, breath coming in short gasps. Lorraine screams for help. Aisha calls 911. The ambulance takes 12 minutes. Theodore is conscious but pale, clutching his chest. "I'm sorry," he whispers to Aisha as they load him onto the stretcher. "I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. None of this is your fault." But his eyes say he doesn't believe her. At the hospital, the doctor explains stress-induced heart palpitations, not a heart attack, but a warning. His body is under extreme strain. He needs rest, no stress, no conflict. How is that possible when his daughter is destroying everything he tried to protect? That evening, another community meeting. But the energy is different now. People are scared. "Maybe we should take the buyout," Mrs. Carter says, holding her twins close. 5,000 isn't much, but it's something. We can start over somewhere else." "There is nowhere else," Jasmine argues. "Rents are double in every other neighborhood. We'll end up in shelters." "Better than being dragged through the media like Aisha," someone mutters. Aisha feels every eye turn toward her. Marcus stands up. "Hold on. Aisha didn't do anything wrong. She helped us." "And now Hartwell's lawyers are destroying her reputation," another voice says. "What happens when they come after the rest of us? You think they won't dig up dirt on all of us?" Jasmine slams her hand on the podium. "They're trying to divide us. That's the whole point. They attack Aisha so we get scared and back down." But the fear has already taken root. Mr. Patterson, who's lived here since 1965, stands slowly. "I fought in Vietnam. I marched with Dr. King. I've been fighting my whole life." His voice cracks. "I'm tired. Maybe it's time to let go." The room falls silent. Jasmine looks at Aisha, helpless. Aisha walks out before anyone sees her cry. She sits on the church steps outside, head in her hands. Her phone buzzes, a text from an unknown number. "Stop now or it gets worse. You can't win. Victoria Hartwell." Aisha stares at the message. She thinks about her mother, who needs medical care they can barely afford. She thinks about Theodore, lying in a hospital bed because of stress she caused. She thinks about the community, fracturing under pressure. Maybe Victoria is right. Maybe she can't win. Aisha visits Theodore at the hospital the next morning. He's sitting up in bed, the oxygen monitor beeping steadily. His face is pale, but his eyes are clear. Lucid. He sees her and reaches out his hand. "I saw the news," he says quietly. "What they're doing to you. I'm so sorry." Aisha sits in the chair beside his bed. "It's not your fault." "It is. I gave you this fight. I should have known Victoria would strike back like this." His grip tightens on her hand. "But you can't stop now. Please, don't let her win." "Theodore, look at you. You're in the hospital because of this stress. The community is falling apart. I lost my job again. Maybe it's time to—" "No." His voice is stronger than she's heard in weeks. "Listen to me. My daughter needs to be stopped. Not for me. For them. For your mother. For Mrs. Carter's twins. For every family she's trying to crush under her heel." He points to a small bag on the bedside table. "Open it." Aisha reaches for the bag, pulls out a small digital recorder. 3 months ago, I had a good day," Theodore explains. "I went to Victoria's office. She was meeting with her CFO, a woman named Diane Lawson. They didn't know I was in the next room. I recorded their conversation." Aisha presses play. Victoria's voice cold and clear. "The surveys are obviously fake, but the city inspectors won't look too closely if we grease the right palms." Another voice, hesitant, female. "Victoria, this is fraud. If we get caught—" "We won't. Who's going to challenge us? A bunch of poor tenants with no lawyers? Please." "Your father built this company on integrity. My father built this company 40 years ago. Times change. Either you're with me or you're out." Silence. Then, "I'm with you." The recording ends. Aisha stares at the device. This is evidence. Real evidence. It's more than that, Theodore says. It's proof Victoria knew exactly what she was doing. Martin can use this. That afternoon, Aisha brings the recorder to Martin's office. He listens 3 times, taking notes, his lawyer's mind already building the case. This changes everything, Martin says, but we need Diane to testify. A recording alone might not be enough. We need her to confirm it under oath. Will she? Aisha asks. I don't know, but I'm going to find out. 2 days later, Martin calls Aisha. I met with Diane Lawson. She's terrified. Victoria's threatening her job, her reputation, everything. But she's also drowning in guilt. She has a daughter your age. She keeps thinking, what if it was her daughter being evicted? So she'll testify? If we grant her immunity from prosecution, I've already contacted the district attorney's office. They're willing to make a deal if her testimony is solid. Hope flickers in Aisha's chest for the first time in days. That same evening, Jasmine calls an emergency meeting. The church basement is half empty. Only 60 people show up instead of 200. But it's enough. Jasmine stands at the podium, fierce and unbroken. I know you're scared. I know Hartwell is trying to break us. But here's what you need to know. We have new evidence, a recorded confession, and a witness willing to testify against Victoria Hartwell. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Aisha didn't give up on us, Jasmine continues. Even when they dragged her name through the mud, even when she lost her job, she kept fighting. So I'm asking you, are we going to abandon her now, or are we going to stand together? Marcus stands. I'm staying. Mrs. Carter stands, her twins clinging to her legs. Me too. One by one, people rise. Mr. Patterson, the Vietnam veteran, stands last. I said I was tired. I am. But I'm not a quitter. Jasmine pulls out her laptop, projects a screen on the wall. We're starting a crowdfunding campaign. Legal fees, back rent for Aisha, medical bills for Theodore. If we all chip in what we can keep this fight going. By midnight, the campaign raises $8,000. By the end of the week, $15,000. Small donations from neighbors, larger ones from strangers who saw the news and wanted to help. $5 here, $20 there. $100 from an anonymous donor. Martin files an amended complaint with the DA's office. Diane's testimony is attached, sworn and notarized. The recording is submitted as evidence. Judge Lawson reviews the new materials, then schedules an emergency public hearing, 7 days away. Aisha sits in her apartment, her mother sleeping peacefully beside her, and for the first time in weeks, she believes they might actually win. The City Hall hearing room is packed. Every seat filled, people standing along the walls, reporters with cameras lining the back row. The air hums with tension, anticipation, the weight of 200 futures hanging in balance. Aisha sits at the plaintiff's table beside Martin. Theodore is in a wheelchair next to them, hands folded in his lap, breathing steady. Across the aisle, Victoria Hartwell sits surrounded by 4 lawyers in expensive suits. She doesn't look at her father, doesn't acknowledge his presence. Judge Lawson enters. Everyone stands. She's a black woman in her 60s, gray hair pulled back, eyes that have seen every trick in the legal playbook. She sits, adjusts her glasses, reviews the file in front of her. This is an emergency hearing regarding the complaint filed by residents of 1247 Ashford Street against Hartwell Properties, she says. Mr. Brennan, you may present your case. Martin stands, walks to the center of the room. Confidence. Prepared. Your Honor, Hartwell Properties obtained demolition permits through fraudulent means. They submitted falsified survey reports to bypass historic preservation laws. We have evidence proving this fraud. Evidence that includes original documents, expert testimony, and a recorded confession. Victoria's lead attorney, a man named Phillips with silver hair and a shark's smile, stands. Your Honor, the so-called evidence comes from a man with severe Alzheimer's disease. His credibility is questionable at best. Then let's examine the evidence, Judge Lawson says. Mr. Brennan, proceed. Martin nods to his assistant, who sets up a projector. 2 images appear on the screen side by side. The first, an architectural survey from 1987, signed by Theodore Hartwell and 3 certified inspectors. It shows measurements, structural analysis, historic designation criteria. Clear, detailed, professional. The second, a survey from 3 months ago, signed by Victoria's hired team. Different measurements, different structural assessments. Conclusions stating the building doesn't meet historic preservation standards. These surveys describe the same building, Martin says, but the measurements don't match. Column width, foundation depth, exterior materials, everything changed. Judge Lawson leans forward, studying the images. Mr. Phillips, can you explain this discrepancy? Phillips stands smoothly. Survey methods have evolved over 40 years, Your Honor. Modern equipment provides more accurate readings. Modern equipment doesn't shrink columns by 8 inches, Martin interrupts. It doesn't change from limestone to concrete. It doesn't erase history. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. We also have testimony, Martin continues. Diane Lawson, Chief Financial Officer of Hartwell Properties, has agreed to testify under oath regarding these falsified documents. The door at the back opens. Diane walks in. She's 50 years old, gray streaks in her brown hair, hands trembling. She looks at Victoria once, then looks away. She takes the witness stand. Martin approaches gently. Miss Lawson, how long have you worked for Hartwell Properties? 12 years. Her voice is barely audible. And during that time, did you become aware of any irregularities regarding survey reports for the Ashford Street properties? Diane's hands grip the armrests. Yes. Can you describe those irregularities? She takes a breath. Victoria, Ms. Hartwell hired a surveying company to create reports that would support demolition permits. When the first survey came back showing the buildings qualified for historic protection, she rejected it. She paid a different company to alter the findings. Did you object? I did. She told me it was necessary for the company's growth, that if I didn't support her decisions, I should find another job. Did she ever acknowledge that the reports were false? Diane closes her eyes. Yes. I recorded a conversation 3 months ago where she explicitly stated the surveys were fake. Martin plays the recording. Victoria's voice fills the room cold and clear. The surveys are obviously fake, but the city inspectors won't look too closely if we grease the right palms. The courtroom erupts. Judge Lawson bangs her gavel. Order! Phillips jumps to his feet. Your Honor, this recording could be doctored, taken out of context. It's not, Diane says, voice stronger now. I was there. I participated. And I regret it every single day. She looks at Aisha. I have a daughter your age. I kept thinking, what if someone did this to her? What if she had nowhere to go? Tears stream down her face. Victoria stares straight ahead, jaw clenched, face unreadable. Phillips changes tactics, walks toward Theodore. Mr. Hartwell, you're the source of these allegations, correct? Theodore nods. And you have Alzheimer's disease? Yes. Severe memory loss? Confusion? Paranoid delusions? Some days, yes. Phillips turns to the judge. Your Honor, we cannot trust the testimony of a man who can't remember what he had for breakfast. His medical records show. Do you remember what you had for breakfast, Mr. Phillips? Theodore's voice cuts through the room. Phillips blinks. Excuse me? This morning. What did you eat? I don't see how that's relevant. I don't remember either, Theodore says. But I remember the day I signed the original surveys for 1247 Ashford Street. March 12th, 1987. I remember the inspector's name, Gerald Moore. I remember the column measurements, 16 inches, limestone, original 1923 construction. I remember thinking this building would stand for another 100 years if we took care of it. He pauses. The room is silent. I have Alzheimer's, Theodore continues. It takes pieces of me every day, but it hasn't taken my integrity. It hasn't taken my ability to know right from wrong. And it hasn't taken away my memory of what my daughter is doing to innocent people. He grips the wheelchair armrests, pushes himself up. Aisha reaches to help him, but he waves her off. Theodore stands, shaky but upright. He faces Victoria across the courtroom. I taught you something when you were young, he says, voice thick with emotion. I told you that integrity isn't what you build. It's who you refuse to bury. His eyes glisten. You forgot that lesson. You're burying these people, and I won't let you. He sits back down, exhausted. The room is silent. Reporters scribble frantically. Several people in the audience wipe their eyes. Judge Lawson removes her glasses, cleans them slowly. When she speaks, her voice is measured, deliberate. I've reviewed the evidence. The discrepancies between these survey reports are not subtle. They are deliberate and significant. Ms. Lawson's testimony corroborates the allegations. The recording speaks for itself. She looks at Victoria. Ms. Hartwell, did you authorize the submission of falsified documents to obtain demolition permits? Victoria stands. Her lawyer whispers urgently in her ear, but she ignores him. I did what was necessary to move this company forward, she says. That's not an answer. Did you knowingly submit false documents? Victoria's jaw tightens. Yes. The courtroom explodes. Judge Lawson bangs her gavel repeatedly. Order! Order! When the room settles, she continues. This court finds sufficient evidence of fraud. The demolition permits for 1247 Ashford Street are hereby revoked permanently. The building will be submitted for official historic designation review. Hartwell Properties is fined $2 million, payable to the affected residents. Furthermore, I'm referring this case to the district attorney for criminal investigation. The gavel falls. Aisha grabs Theodore's hand. Jasmine screams with joy. Mrs. Carter hugs her twins. Martin closes his briefcase, allows himself a small smile. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarm. Victoria pushes through the crowd, face stone. Aisha stands near the steps. Victoria stops when she sees her. They face each other. You destroyed everything, Victoria says quietly. Aisha meets her eyes. No, you did. I just helped him remember who he used to be. Victoria walks away without another word. Theodore appears beside Aisha, Jasmine supporting his arm. We won, Aisha whispers. You won, Theodore corrects. I just gave you the tools. You did the rest. The crowd surrounds them. Cameras flash, questions shouted. But all Aisha can think about is going home to tell her mother. They're safe. 3 months later. The scaffolding comes down on a Tuesday morning. Aisha stands on the sidewalk, watching workers remove the last metal beams. Underneath, the limestone gleams. Original 1923 architecture restored. New windows. Repaired brickwork. The building looks like it was always meant to look. The courtyard now holds a community garden. Raised beds full of tomatoes, peppers, herbs. Mrs. Carter's twins chase each other between the rows. Mr. Patterson teaches neighborhood kids how to tell when a tomato is ripe. Aisha is the assistant director of the Ashford Community Land Trust now. Small salary, health insurance, and a purpose she never knew she needed. She coordinates with architects, city officials, and residents, making sure this block becomes what Theodore always envisioned. Theodore lives on the first floor. Some days are good. Some days he forgets, asks why the buildings look different. Today is a good day. He sits in the garden beside Lorraine, who's healthier now. The community trust covered her treatments. She's in her wheelchair, oxygen tank humming, but she can sit in the sun and smile. Theodore reads to her. His voice is steady. She listens, eyes closed. That afternoon, Jasmine hosts a block party. Tables covered with food, music playing, a banner strung between buildings. Our homes, our future. 200 people celebrate. Children run wild. Elders watch the neighborhood come alive. Theodore calls Aisha over, hands her an envelope. What's this? Open it. Inside, a certificate. The Theodore Hartwell Scholarship Fund, established to support young people fighting housing injustice. First recipient, Aisha Monroe, $5,000. Theodore, I can't. You gave me your coat that night. Now I'm giving you this. Use it for school, for whatever future you want. Aisha hugs him, tears streaming. Movement at the edge of the party. A woman standing alone. Expensive coat. Victoria. She hasn't come closer. Just stand there, watching. Her eyes find Theodore. He sees her, nods once. Victoria hesitates, then steps forward. Dad, she says quietly. I'm sorry. Theodore's face softens. Then prove it. Come help us rebuild. Victoria looks at Aisha, at the community, at everything she almost destroyed. Okay, she says. I'll try. It's not forgiveness, not yet, but it's a beginning. Aisha's voice, warm and steady. People ask me if I'd do it again. Give up my job, my coat, my safety for a stranger. The answer is yes. Every single time. Images flash across the screen. Aisha speaking at a university about housing justice. Theodore's story featured in national newspapers. City councils in Boston, Chicago, Oakland adopting community land trust models based on Ashford Street. One act of kindness, rippling outward. Aisha walks past Ruby's diner, where she was fired that stormy night. New sign in the window. Under new management. She smiles, keeps walking. Her phone rings. Hello? Yes, this is Aisha. Another community facing eviction? Send me the details. We'll help. She hangs up, looks at the sky, keeps moving forward. Text appears on screen. 1 in 4 Americans face housing insecurity, but one act of kindness can start a movement. Another line. Aisha and Theodore's story inspired 47 communities to fight unjust evictions. 12,000 families kept their homes. Final line. What will your act of kindness be? Fade to black. Final message. Share this story. Support local housing justice organizations. Links in description. Together we can build a future where everyone has a home. The screen holds on those words, then fades. If this story touched your heart, please hit the like button and subscribe to Black Soul Stories for more real-life inspired stories of courage and justice. Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever helped a stranger and had it change your life?